Hello and welcome to the Aaron Werner podcast on iCode Media. I really hope you enjoy the conversation I have with my good friend Brandy, who is the American Optometric Association's 2023 Paraoptometric of the Year, an honor that is very well deserved. You're going to love the conversation. You're going to love Brandy's infectious nature. You can't help but smile and be inspired when you listen to Brandy. Her story is about going from having a job to a career and a passion in eye care. She is a paraoptometric. We want to encourage you to encourage your teams to invest in themselves to become paraoptometric certified. And so listen to Brandy's story, share it with their teams. And at the end of the podcast, we'll talk about some resources that are available to you through iCode Media to help your team along that journey. This year, we proudly introduced the Life Meter to our practice in response to our staff's passionate demand for enhanced patient care. Their firsthand experience with the Life Meter underscored the crucial link between proper diet, carotenoid supplementation, and visual health and performance. Our front desk team now measures every patient's skin carotenoid levels, providing valuable education on each score and the significance of carotenoids in ocular performance and health. The result? Patients love the enhanced experience, and our MacuHealth sales have doubled since implementing Life Meter. To discover more, contact your MacuHealth representative or click on the link in the show notes. Brandy, we were just laughing and I screwed up your last name, so I'm going to try it to get it right here because you'll always be Brandy Cherry to me, but Brandy Yeack. And I'm excited anytime I get to talk with you. You're one of my favorite people. You're always happy. You make me feel happy. You just make everybody around you feel happy. And your passion for what you do, not just in optometry, but specifically what you do, and we'll get into that, is contagious. And this is your year as well. So I'm excited that all the work you do is recognized. And so congratulations. So it was, when was it that you were presented with the award?
It is the AOA Paraoptometric of the Year award, and I also received Oregon's Para of the Year award this year. So it was definitely the most life-changing. It's such an honor. It's going to make me cry. It was just amazing to receive both of those rewards.
Well, very, very well earned. And what I love about you and lots of folks in your place, in your role, but just the importance you understand in the team dynamics in a practice.
Yes.
And not just that, but in the professional development of that team through the paraoptometric. So for those who are listening, and I'm hoping everybody knows what it is, but if you don't, real quick, what is the definition of paraoptometric? How does that role work within the AOA and the state associations?
The Paraoptometric is a certificate for recognition of the knowledge and the ability to use that knowledge to give the best patient care to our patients. You take a national test, you study hard, and you really understand the dynamics of this industry, and you're able to act on those and give the best patient care possible. And that's my own definition. I'm sure they have a much better definition, but this is a career, and it's a passion, and it's a certificate that really gives you this career feeling of passion of what you do.
Yeah. Well, I love that because this is not on the surface, it's a very simple industry, and I don't mean to belittle that, but it seems straightforward until you get into the office and the nuances of everything that's involved, and not just from a billing and coding third-party payer aspect, but just managing patients and managing their care, because nothing is in isolation, and we definitely cannot do that without a team setting.
No, that's absolutely correct.
So remind us your journey into optometry, and then where you've gotten today.
So my journey was, I was a nurse's assistant for 8 years, and it was this end of life feeling for me. I was taking care of people who were not going to get better, and I was looking for something that would give me more of a helping feeling, like I was making a difference in someone's world. And I submitted my resume literally everywhere. And Dr. Hale and Dr. Young saw my resume and they called me in, and I'm just, this little person sitting across the table. I remember I was so nervous, and Dr. Hale looked at me and he asked me some really hard questions, and I was very serious and I wasn't really smiling, and he reminds me of that every day. And and he took a chance on me, and he saw something in me. He saw this drive in me, and he pushed me really hard, and he grew me, and he educated me, and he brought me in the room, and he showed me everything that there was to see about the optometric world, right? And he really took his time to put me under his wing and grow me into the person that I am today. And I took the first step in being a certified paraoptometric. I wanted to make him proud, and in turn I made myself proud, because that was the first stepping stone to making me so passionate like I am today. I'm making a difference in people's lives. And when he had me join the dry eye clinic in our office and made me a part of that, we were changing people's lives together. And it was just, it made me feel so good about myself. Like, wow, this patient's coming back, they're feeling better, we're making a difference. And then I went for my CPOA, and now I'm going for my CPOT, and those are just levels of certifications, right? But it's just the more knowledge that I have, I'm capable of taking care of these patients, and I'm taking care of my team too, being an office manager. So he first made me the clinic manager.
Okay.
And I ran the clinic for him and told him where to go and what to do, and it was this new dynamic for us, right? I'm in charge and he has to do what I say, and he expects me to push back, and then he made me his office manager, and he made me responsible for 18 employees.
Oh, wow.
And he saw me, build this culture and happiness throughout this office, and playing games, and really educating them in a fun new way. And we're very different. I listen to your podcast, by the way, and we are very different people too, and it works. And
Yep.
he does expect me to push back, and all this education and all this love that I feel from this practice is just, I hope you can feel it, because
We can.
it's just amazing, and we're making a difference, and we're a family, and I love everything about it. And then he got me involved with Vision Source, and I'm a facilitator for all of Oregon, and I'm making differences in all these other practices' lives, and networking and meeting people, and meeting mentors like you. I look up to you, and
Oh, you're too kind.
and I love everything that you guys say, and I learned so much, and it's just, I want to share that with the world. I just want everybody to understand what a great career this is, and how far you can go, and what a difference you can make in people's lives.
Oh, I love it. I told you your excitement and passion is contagious, right? And no, that's fantastic. And I love the story. I love hearing the story. One of the things that you mentioned, and I think it's a critically important, and so I want to go back to it a little bit when you said Jim Hale pushed you right in your role. He saw something in you, pushed you. Because I'll admit, as an optometrist, we were trained in school to do everything ourselves. I didn't have an assistant working with me, and we weren't necessarily trained to help develop others. We were in training to develop ourselves. So when somebody listening to this says, "Oh my gosh, I've got somebody who's that raw Brandy, but I want her to get, or him to get to that stage Brandy's at right now, where she's doing all these super cool things," what were the key things that Dr. Hale did to push you to where you're at right now? Because I'm sure it wasn't just a smooth sailing, right? Seamless transition, right? And so take us a little bit into, and I know Jim really well. He's a fantastic guy.
Yeah.
But take us into a little bit from your perspective, what that pushing looked like, how he helped you see the potential you had within you, and then get you to doing all these cool things.
Absolutely. He started with bringing me into the room with him. I watched everything that he did, the refraction, how he spoke to the patient. And if I made an error, he told me I made an error, and he had me fix it, and told me the reason why we don't want to make that error. And, as a sensitive person, because I'm a very sensitive person, I wear my heart on my sleeve and I will cry at the drop of a dime. And he will tell you this. He's like, she's a crier. Watch out. You know, and it took him being vulnerable with me and saying, you know, this is not me upset with you. This is me trying to grow you into the person I know you can be. And it was those wonderful conversations that we had together. And, you know, going to him and stating, I want to get my CPO. He's like, oh, absolutely. Sure. What do you need? We're here for you. We're here to support you. I believe in you. And, you know, wanting to go to the management development program, absolutely you should go. What do we need to do for you? I want to go to Transitions Academy. Absolutely. What do we need to do? You know, things. Every time I came to him for something that I wanted to do to advance my knowledge, he had my back. And if he found an opportunity for me to obtain knowledge or become a better technician, he would send me. He took me under his wing. He would take me to Vision Source meetings. He would take me to other optometry meetings with him. He would let me meet other people, doctors like you know, we met through Dr. Hill, and meeting mentors like you changed my whole life. Tammy Franklin, you know, it's people like you that also, you know, molded me into the person I am today. But it started with him. It started with him by, you know, having those hard conversations with me, pushing me to the abilities he knew that I had. And it took him taking the time to actually pull me to the side and correct my errors or train me on something. Like, hey, why don't you come in here, Brandy? Let me show you on this OCT of what I'm looking at. Or why don't you look over my shoulder, Brandy? Look through this slit lamp. Let me show you what I'm looking at right now. And that's amazing for a doctor to do.
Yeah,
And then he let me create this tech driven clinic. He's like, I know that you're capable of doing this. Why don't you teach the rest of your team what I taught you? And then we created this wonderful dynamic that works so well in our office. You know, he's a wonderful doctor and he sees potential in his staff, and that's so important for our careers. As you know, we're not just technicians, we're not just people that work for you. We're career people that work for you. I don't know. I guess I could have said that better. I'm so sorry.
You're part of the team, right? You all work together. I mean, somebody signs a paycheck, and so there's the corporate hierarchy. But my guess is knowing all of you, you know, in the day to day of the clinic, in the hustle and bustle during the day, you know, it's there's not a boss and a you know, an underling, if you will. It's a team. Hey, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. You're directing him. He's directing all of you. You're communicating with each other. And one of the words I love that you said was vulnerable, right? That he was being vulnerable in opening up what he was doing and sharing what he was doing with you. I'm sure that involved questions. And so you saying, why are you doing this? And anytime we get asked why we're doing something, that's that can be challenging to sometimes to have to explain ourselves why. And I'm sure there was some questions as to, well, that seems kind of silly. Why are you doing it that way? Why aren't you doing it this way? Right. And, and certainly it, you know, that goes both ways, but I loved that word. And and I think that's a key that maybe some of us miss when we're trying to work with our team is understanding that vulnerability and the importance of having it and respecting it.
Absolutely. You know, it's a transition of authority and also treating me like an equal. I feel like I'm his equal, you know, and I didn't feel that way for years until he treated me like I was. And it's this relationship that is a wonderful thing that I feel like every person should have with the people that they work with. And I can't even express how grateful I am for for all of you, because I wouldn't be where I am today without every single one of you. And you know, the one thing that will always stick with me that he says is, you want to train people to one day take your place.
And I like that.
Yeah. And so I treat my employees that way. You know, I may be your office manager, but I'm gonna treat you like you are going to be me one day. And so let's do this together. Let me tell you the why behind what we do. Let me show you. And so what he did for me, I do for them. And it just creates a team dynamic that no one can break.
Nope.
It's amazing.
No, I like that. And while that culture is definitely a helpful family culture, I also don't think it's a very fluffy culture, right? There's expectations, and you hold each other
Yeah.
to those standards and that expectations, right? So it's not a kumbaya sit in a circle all day
No.
long, right? There are very clear expectations, and if they're not met, then we have a discussion about what needs to be corrected.
That's where the why becomes behind it, right? You
Important.
know, this is why you don't do what I
Yeah.
asked you not to do. But no, it is not fluffy. You are absolutely correct. There's pushback. There's, there's times. There was a time where one of the doctors, Dr. Young, he's amazing. He's another one of my mentors, and he goes, "I think you need to sleep on it." And I said, I think that I need to do this, this, and this. He's like, no, 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 no. I think you need to sleep, and I think you're very upset right now. And so the next day I came up to him and I said, nope, I still want to do it. And he goes, take the whole weekend. And so I did, and I felt different about it, right? So where you're still going to have that those moments where you're just like, I can't believe this happened, and I just want to fire back so fast. You cannot do that. You can't do that. You got to calm down a little bit, but you still got to tell them the why. So no, it's not fluffy, it's not kumbaya, but you do have these expectations, and they will tell you if you come here that Brandy runs a tight ship.
Yep.
And I do, but you still got to make room for the fluffiness too. Let's have fun. Let's play
Oh,
Jeopardy.
yeah.
Let's, but yes, I have expectations, and there's times where Brandy has to sleep on it for a whole weekend. But
Well, that's good advice for all of us.
Yeah, but it's a great thing,
but no, I think that's very important. And it's a good reminder for us to hear that this doesn't happen overnight. It's not necessarily going to be easy, but I love what you talked about, how it's a two-way street. And there were times when he said, Brandy, this is what I need. And I appreciate you have a different perspective, but this is what I need. And in times you push back and said, I need you just to listen. Yeah. And I need you to hear me. And what I found is that when my team has pushed back on certain things, a lot of times what they're coming up with is better than I thought of.
Yeah.
And I'll share that as a practice owner, it's my baby. Right? If this doesn't happen, if something fails within this practice, it's my family's livelihood. There's a lot of money invested in it. I can't just pick up and go get another job somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And so not too indifferent than my kids when they were babies. I just didn't leave them with anybody. And I had to trust them. And even so much so that I look back now and laugh because, I was telling my parents, hey, here's how you handle the baby. And mom just rolled her eyes and smiled and said, okay, it's not my first rodeo. I got this, but you're so worried about not doing the right thing. And so it takes time for us to be okay letting somebody else have control of the baby and manage the baby and make decisions for the baby. So let's jump back over to the Paraoptometric, because you mentioned that there's different levels of certification. And so I believe it starts, correct me if I'm wrong, but CPO.
Yes.
And that's the entry level. Hey, I'm getting acclimated to this role as a technician within optometry, understanding the I don't want to say basics, but the foundation. Is that a good word?
Foundation. Yeah.
Foundational. Mm-hmm. And then from there you move up through the CPOA, CPOT, and then they've got a specialty one too, right?
They do. They have CPOC, which is billing and coding. That's on my radar as well, because I do billing and coding. So why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they also have the new micro for surgical, which I also have my eyes on. Yeah, I really want to do that one. And it's, these certifications are amazing. I remember taking my CPO and feeling so, happy and passionate, but my CPOA, how hard I had to study for that one because I wasn't an optician, and it's, ophthalmics, and it's creating your super tech right at this point. And I was like, I was so stressed. My husband's like, do you really need to take another one? Because you were so crazy studying all the time. But it's amazing. And the further you go, the more you learn and the better patient care you can give. And it just drives your passion even further. So I'm really looking forward to the last 3 that I will obtain. And I will. So
I know you'll get it.
Yeah.
I'm curious how long, so somebody listening says, hey, I want to start this, mm-hmm. right? Is it I'm going to be a little bit facetious, but I get a piece of paper, I go and take a couple 10-question tests and get it, or what's the time investment, and is this a 6-month program? Is it a year long? Kind of set my goals and work towards it. How long did you think it takes to hit that, be ready to take the test for each of these?
I would definitely, you have to work under a doctor for a certain period of time. And, I could be wrong because I'm not looking at the sheet right now, but I do believe it's a minimal of 6 months under a doctor. And, all doctors out there should really add all of your staff to your AOA, because that's important. They're going to need to be a staff member of that, mm-hmm. And then they go to the AOA and they can submit paperwork stating that they have worked under a doctor for the minimal time frame, and they're ready to take the test. And then you schedule a test pretty far out. You can schedule a test as early as you want, or go out further for the test date. So there's different test dates, right? So you have your office manager or doctor sign off that you've been working there long enough. So let's say it is 6 months minimal. I would definitely, maybe a year if you have no prior experience, because, this is a important test. And then you get the coursework, which is also available on the AOA, the study books. So the flashcards and the DVDs and the course books. So you're going to want to get all of that. You're going to really want to hone in and study. There's things on there that you may not know. Okay, mm-hmm. If you don't have a doctor who's bringing you in the room, there might be something that you honestly don't just think that you can go there and take the test, because that is an inaccurate statement. You really need to study. This is your career. This is the test. This is a national test. And really, dive into those books. And the more knowledge that you know, you're going to get better patient care. So I encourage you to read those books no matter what, because there are things in there that you're going to learn so much, and you're going to come back and your doctor's going to be like, wow, you know that that's awesome, and just, it's going to take a while. Don't think that you're just going to walk in there and pass it. Maybe you are, maybe you're like really smart. That's great. I have to study.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then CPOA is you have to work underneath a doctor. You have your CPO, or you have to work under a doctor for so long, and you can take that test right when you're ready. And there's different coursework for that. You're capable of jumping straight to a CPO. I do believe, and I could be wrong, but if I do believe you can at least go to that if you've been working under a doctor for so long. And then I do know that there are certain courseworks you can take, but all the study materials available to you at the AOA, and oftentimes different. I'm part of Vision Source, so I'm just going to use that as an example. Excuse me, but I am going to use that if that's okay.
Absolutely.
On Leonardo, I have access to CPOA study review. And I hone in on that. I really take everything that's available to me. The more knowledge I have, I'm more capable of passing that test. I know that was a really, really long answer, and
no, that was a great answer.
But
that was a fantastic answer.
Yeah.
And I think it's important too to and you brought up something where you said that there's things that you may not be exposed to. What I found when our team has gone through different certification trainings is they'll come back and ask me questions, and the discussion of me helping them understand makes me revisit, because a lot of the basic math from ophthalmic world and whatnot I haven't had to touch in a while, and it leads to different conversations that really help build our relationship. So while we're helping them study and get through, it's helping me appreciate what they're learning. It's helping me appreciate what they're doing. I feel more confident to bring them in more and add more responsibilities onto what they can do. And it's turning that person that probably initially applied for me for a job and into a career, into
Absolutely.
a profession.
Yes.
Which is really fun. And we love teaching. We're not the best at it. So you're helping us become better, and we're learning together through the process. And I like the fact that it's not a go and take a test. If I recall from my team members, it's you have, when you sit to take the test, it's an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yes.
So it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
For the docs in the room, it's probably not as long as our boards were, but it's they're a big deal. It's something that it takes time to study and prepare for. And some of the questions, just like ours on boards, were from left field a little bit, and I wondered why we were asked that. But that's part of the importance of really having that certification and knowing it's a certification that you earned, not one that you just sat through a class or took a 5-minute video and 10 question test, quiz at the end to earn a piece of paper. It's truly earned.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. And I'm glad that you brought that up about going to the doctors and talking about the coursework, because I did that with my doctors, and especially with Prism. Oh man, that was my, hated every moment of that. But it was, something that the doctor and I connected on. And I was like, listen, I don't know if I can do this. And he's like, yes, you can. Let's just do this together. And it's still my nemesis. Prism is it's just going to be my nemesis till the day that I die. But
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I could go and speak to them about and learn from them. So I am glad that you brought that up, because there were times where I brought my coursework and I'm just like, we need to talk about this, and how else can I look at this and teach me in a different way, or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because we all learn differently.
Oh, absolutely. And for those who are listening that aren't docs, we're nerds. And so when we get to talk about the nerdy stuff that we do, we get excited.
Perfect.
And so coming to us with these type of questions is not unless it's a Friday afternoon, probably not the best time to grab us, but we like this stuff. It's what we dedicated our lives to. And we want to help our team succeed. We want to talk through it. And seeing you succeed, seeing you be able to do more and engage in a world that we love is fantastic, right? not too unlike somebody who's a Star Wars nerd getting to talk Star Wars nerdy stuff, right? It's our world. We love it. So I think it's fantastic. Now, let me ask you this, because it is so much, it sounds like this was an initiative that Dr. Hale and team supported, but really you led, right? There's a lot of studying at home. There's a lot of reviewing at home. This isn't something that you can dedicate a couple hours a day to during patient care to pull yourself aside and work on, right? This is a you as an individual trying to get better initiative as well.
Yes, that's correct. It takes you as an individual, because you can't study at work. You're going to get the hands-on training at work, yes, but I studied for hours on end at home. And like I said, when I took my CPOA, my husband's like, "Are you really want to take another one?" Because I was constantly head in the books, going through flashcards, studying as much as I could. It's going to be hours of your contribution to your own self-worth and your own growth in your career. This is something that you're going to want, you want, and you need it, and you're going to have the drive yourself to get it. You can't just, I don't know how people did it in school, where they're like, "Oh, I'm going to come in and take a math test and didn't study for it."
They studied. They were just lying to you. Yeah. They were closet studiers.
You're gonna want to set yourself some passion, put a fire underneath you, and hone in on everything at home.
Yep.
Yeah.
And for those who are listening that just got completely overwhelmed and want to reach up and change the podcast, a life hack that I just gained this year, Ted McElroy and I did a discussion on the book, All It Takes Is a Goal. And and one of the hacks he talks about in there is stealing time. So I don't have multiple hours a day to sit down. But he talks about how I've got 20 minutes sitting in line picking up my kids from school. Or I travel quite a bit for my roles. So when I get on the plane, I can pull up my laptop real quick, and I can usually get 15 to 20 minutes worth of work done before the flight attendants come by and yell at me and tell me to put it away. But there's little time gaps that we can steal throughout the day that add up. And so when you say it takes hours and hours to study, collectively it does, but I don't want anybody to get scared saying you have to find hours and hours.
No,
you can find 20 minutes here and there.
No, I don't want them to think that. Yeah. I work until 5:30, and I live an hour away from my work. I live in the country. So when I'm saying hours and hours, I'm talking like I took 25-30 minutes every night for multiple, nights, adding up to these hours and hours. You're absolutely right. I want to scare people. I didn't just sit down for hours on end and study. That's not at all. It was me, doing my everyday life, cooking dinner for my children. I have 3 children, getting them in bed, and then taking the time, like you said, to take a section of the book and study. Thank you so much for bringing that up, because I don't want to scare people away either. Like, I want you to do this. We all have busy lives, and it's just, even in a lunch break, I brought it to work and on my lunch break and sat down and took 30 minutes to look at those books. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And like you said, the online resources, whether you're using for Leonardo or iCode Education, whatnot, there, you can play those in the car on your drive.
Yeah.
Don't watch the video, but
don't.
play it and listen to it if you're an auditory learner.
Yeah.
So there's little time steals that you can go through there. And if you really don't think you have time, open your iPhone and look at the time. It shows how long you're on social media and watching TikToks and Instagrams and whatnot. Like there's plenty of time you can steal back.
Absolutely. Yes.
And invest in yourself. And I don't want to commit my colleagues, but I know in my office, there's financial benefits for advancing yourself. I want to be able to have a team that's looked at this as a career just like I have. I want to be able to financially reward them for that. But just like I had to go to school and, I didn't just wake up and say, I want to be a doctor. I had to invest the time and effort and energy there to get the financial reward. The same happens with my team when they study and make themselves better. And there's, even if you can do it, there's something to be said about having gone through the effort of taking the test, getting a certification, and then maintaining it. So it's not a one and done.
No, it's not a one and done. You need 18 credits, within a 3-year span, and submit those. Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. And it feels so good though when
Yeah.
you have that certificate. Man, it's hanging on my wall. Like, you can't
As
see
it
it.
should.
It's hanging up there, and it's just, a constant reminder of what I did,
Yeah.
advancing, myself. And it's just a great accomplishment. It's worth every minute that you spend obtaining it.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. And ultimately, your patients all benefit because you put the effort
100%.
through.
100%.
So now let me ask you this, because you got to work directly with Dr. Hale and on this process, and now you're the lead on inspiring your team members. Not that Jim doesn't engage with them, but how have you built this culture of I want to do better. I want to continue my professional development with now the team members that you're responsible for. What does that conversation look like?
The conversation is really bringing them under your wing and saying, this is how I got where I am today, and I see myself in you,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that you can do it. So let's get you the study material. Let's get you to take that test. And I currently have 3 techs studying for the CPO
I
exam.
love it.
Yeah, so exciting. We're talking to reception also. I feel like everybody really should have their CPO certification. It's only going to help improve your patient care and how everyone in your office takes care of your patients. Our patients are our number one priority. So it's having those conversations and those constant check-ins. So I bring them to my office. We have a sit-down one-on-one. How are you doing? What can I do for you? How do I remove your barriers? And having them write down their barriers. I just had a powwow before I came onto this podcast with you today. What can I do for you? How can we advance you in your career? Do you want to take your ABO? I have the study material right here. Would you like to take and look at it? Absolutely. Yeah. Can I see that? It's really rewarding too to watch them actually take that test and receive that certification. My friend Elena, who came over with me, I received my CPO first. She received her CPO after me, and she's just as passionate and fueled by the fire that I
That's
am.
awesome.
And she took my place as clinic manager when I jumped into the practice manager position. So it's really training your staff to one day take your place, to say, hey, you want to be where I am today? This is how you get there. Let's have that conversation. What are your barriers? How can I help you? This is a career. Telling them over and over again, this is a career. These are our patients. They're our number one priority. What can I do for you? And so that's why we have so many people, ready and willing to take their exam. I'm super excited for them, if you can tell.
Oh no, I love it. Now, do they work are they working individually on it, or are they working together? Are they studying together, since you've got a bunch all looking
It's
at taking
individual.
Okay.
They work together. I'm hoping that maybe they'll have a little study hall. I talked about, I just talked to Dr. Hill about this. Like, maybe one day, Oregon can have a study hall. Like, I can run a study hall for all the paras that want to take the test. How fun would
That's
that
cool.
be? So they are working on it individually, but they're finding that time, maybe they're in their car on their lunch break and they're reading the book, and because we have multiple study material here at the office, we made sure to take care of them and what their needs were to make them successful. And then we have another one who's waiting, and then she'll take hers after the other 3. So
Got it. So it sounds like, as a practice, you guys invest in the study materials and the resources.
Yes.
And obviously you're asking the team members, and you expect the team members to invest their time. That's their commitment to it. And on their own time outside of the work, obviously you'll support, but they need to invest. And then when it comes to paying for the test, how do you guys address that?
Our practice pays for the test. So they come to me, I submit the paperwork, and they pick their scheduled test, and I pay for it for them. Valley Eye Care does, not me.
Yep.
Because, and it's just, we believe in them. We believe, hey, you're going to pass this test. We're going to take care of that for you. Here you go. And Valley Eye Care is amazing in taking care of their employees and advancing them in their careers, and forever thankful for that.
Cool. So we do the same thing. We pay for it. I've seen other models where, the practice will reimburse the staff. I think as long as that's understood what the process is. But I do think it's important that we invest in our team.
Yeah.
And I mean, the return is you can't measure the return based upon the small dollar amount overall that you're investing.
No, you can't. So, absolutely.
I've also, and I don't think you and I have talked about this. You've mentioned it. We just haven't called it out. But when I graduated optometry school, I thought I was seeing patients 5 days a week. Now it's going to be my career until I, retired or died, because optometrists don't retire. We just kind of die with the phoropter in our hands. And, but my path has gone in a very different direction than anticipated. Different doors have opened. And I think that's similar to you when you first started. Your expectations was patient care. That's what you said at the beginning. I want to help people. I want to feel good about helping people. And maybe you had an idea of saying, I want to run a practice, but my guess is that wasn't the forethought of your mind. You just wanted to feel better and help people now. But the more professional development investment you made in yourself with the support of the practice, the more doors have opened up.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Like I said, I owe everything to them. But I didn't have that in my mind when I came here. I wanted to just help people, like you said, and here I am running an entire practice and educating others, other practices about, patient care and office culture and growing their employees as well. So yep. Great doors, wonderful doors have opened.
Wonderful doors. And that's also how you find somebody like you. It's really easy to, and I probably have said this to Jim and I know I have in others over a drink, hey, like I just, you're lucky you've got Brandy with you, and I've heard it, Aaron, you're lucky you've got Kathy with you, and whoever that person is, but that person didn't show up out of nowhere. That relationship was curated and built and invested in over time. So I think that for both, practice owners and team members listening, this is how you get to these type of relationships, which aren't always still smooth. There's still back and forth discussions that happen on a daily basis.
Yes.
But it's, and those are necessary, but it's that trust that you build in through this type of professional development that is important. Awesome. So Brandy, if somebody's interested in either encouraging their team to go through the para program and to start working on the certifications, or team members interested in doing it, where's the best place for them to go to find out?
They need to go to the AOA website, the American Optometry website, and they're going to click on Paraoptometrics. So it'll be really clear, Paraoptometrics. It'll have all the information about what they need to do, the steps they need to take. You can always email me too. I don't know if they have your email, or they can find me.
I will put your email in the show notes if you're brave. But yes, I'm happy to.
They can email me anytime. I love helping people advance in their careers. I can give them, any help, instructions, what they need to do next. The number one thing that needs to happen is they need to be added as staff members on the AOA underneath their doctor. Okay. And that's going to open the opportunity for them to have access to the iLearn and things that Paraoptometrics absolutely need information for to advance in their careers. So, but definitely reach out. I'm here for it. So if you need help, I'm more than happy to help.
I love it. We need more people like you that are willing to just take what you've learned in your experience and then and reach out and help others become successful as well. So that's amazing. That's one of the reasons why we love you so much, Brandy.
Oh, thank you.
So yes. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking time in the middle of the day to talk to us. And talk to me. Always a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you in person at the at the exchange, but I think we're going to cross paths in January as well.
We are. And, yes, I'm very excited. Yes.
So look forward to a big hug and catching up and sharing a cocktail and all the fun things that 2024 has for us.
Yes. Thank you so much again for having me. I really appreciate it. I love your podcast. I was listening to it in my earphones like the whole time I was working, and I'm just like, I totally agree with that. Yes. Oh wow. I think that everybody should do that. Just pop in the earbud and take a listen. I thank you for everything. Truly, you're an amazing mentor, and it's been an honor being on your podcast and being here with you today. And I can't wait to see you. We're going to have a blast in Houston, and even at the exchange, it's going to be a great time.
Absolutely. You are way too kind. So thank you very much. I'm excited to announce a first at the Aaron Werner podcast on iCode Media. We are going to do a live book club, a live book review. Recently, we had Brianna Rue on, and she talked about a book called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. A good friend of mine, Dr. Kyle Clutie, called me and said, hey, that book is amazing. I listened to the interview. I'm reading the book. We need to discuss this. And so we are having a book club. We don't have a date yet. We will let you know as soon as we do, but we want you to go out, buy the book, read it. That way you can participate in the live discussion, the live book club podcast that we are going to do. We'll put the link to the book in the show notes, but it is Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. It's a fantastic read. It's a really good listen to. So if you're like me and like to listen to books, audiobooks, it's a fantastic listen. But would love to have you join us for that live podcast, that live book club book review. So get the book, start listening to it, start reading it, and we will let you know shortly when we're going to do that. As doctors of optometry, we cannot do what we do without our team. And Paraoptometrics are allied health professionals who assist us in providing the highest level of vision care to our patients. We at iCode Education want to support you and your team in the Paraoptometric certification process, which is why not only do we have resources available, training resources available for your team to help prepare them for the test, but we also have a discount code specifically for the Aaron Werner podcast listeners, which gives you $100 off for 12 months. So you can use the code AWP 2024, that's AWP 2024, to get $100 off for a 12 months code. We'll put the link in the show notes, but you can visit iCodeeducation.com and search for Paraoptometric training to see what those courses are like.